Hey guys, I'm majicDave and this is Ambience. So I've been pretty busy doing quite a lot over the last few weeks. Thought it was probably time for a progress update. So first thing is probably I've sort of worked on this menu quite a lot. So you can, I guess it's just minor stuff, but it all needs doing. You can sort of just navigate through with keys, and you can hit enter to go in. There's text entry, all that kind of stuff that you need for a game. So yeah, good to have all that done. Part of the reason I sort of needed to do all of that was because where I got to last point in the last video was I needed to get these little guys walking around, and I realized that before doing that I really need to have a server running through all of the actions in the background. It didn't make a lot of sense to implement all of that on the client and then have to split it all out later, so it really was the point where I had to work on the client server kind of infrastructure. So I've done that. Everything is now working client server all the time. There's actually an internal server running even when you're playing in single player. I might talk about that a little bit more later once I'm in the game, but I just wanted to also show that yeah, you can join worlds. You can host worlds. When you play in single player, it is currently always allowing other people to connect via a network, and also there's a separate server application that I've made already that also compiles on Linux. So yeah, quite a lot of work to get all that working, but it's working quite well. So let me just go in and load this world. So yeah, you can make multiple worlds and select between ones that you've already created and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so here's a world that I just loaded up before, just to sort of show you guys where I'm at. So there's some rocks and a few different kinds of grass that I've sort of just worked on trying to, I don't know, I guess I get bored sometimes and just add a bit of content now and then. Yeah, and there's these guys hanging around. So I've made it so that now there's this sort of concept of resources. So these trees have an idea of a couple of different actions that you can order these guys to do. One of them at the moment is gather and the other is chop. Probably neither of these will be in the game. Actually, I should probably say, I need to pretty much say this every video now, I think. Everything in this is completely unfinished. All the animations, all the models and images are just placeholders. You know, you can't don't treat this like the final game's going to be like this. Yeah, especially some of these animations are a bit funny, but you'll see that shortly. They are actually breathing a little bit now. Just been playing around with animations. Actually, yeah, you can also see that the arms are sort of totally segmented away. I don't know what the word is for it, but that they used to be kind of a seamless mesh, but I found that there were issues with when those triangles were stretched out, especially with the lighting and stuff. And so I thought probably the best way of solving that problem was to just make them closed objects, so each limb is just a closed object, and yeah, that seems to be working really well, and I don't mind the look. I think it's quite cool. So but yeah, I'm a bit tired of how these guys are looking. I might change them soon. You'll notice they have names. I'm just sort of working on randomly generating a bit of server state as they show up. But anyway, so you can now click on a tree and get this little user interface to select between various actions. You can use the keyboard to navigate between them as well. And yeah, I've sort of worked to try to make this interface all kind of fairly clean and bug free, I guess. It frustrates me when I'm developing and I hit little bugs, so I try to fix them up as I go. And I've got this little pause menu now as well, and I've still got that lower console there. You can actually get it with the C key as well. Very handy. Anyway, so I will hit to chop these branches, and look, a couple of guys are walking over. Oh, he teleported there, gives it a hug, and it disappears. So that's where I'm at with that. At least I don't know, it's pretty exciting to actually get this point. They're actually kind of walking. As I was saying before, the animations, none of them are final, not even close, but it just gives you a bit of an idea of where the game's heading, what I'm planning to do here. And yeah, so I've been doing a lot of this with Lua. I'm really starting to get out of C++ code and into Lua now, and I'm starting to hit some of the issues with using a scripting language that is not statically typed and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, it's interesting dealing with that. Overall, I think it's a huge win, but I'm just sort of learning the processes, I suppose, that I'm going to have to use to deal with some of its limitations. So that's something that I'm sort of battling with a little bit. Yes, I thought it was a good time to make a video when I saw that half an hour ago. Yeah, so I guess the next thing that I'll be doing with them is, well, yeah, they need an animation that's actually chopping or whatever, but the idea is you won't actually be able to chop until you've made some kind of an axe. And so that's why you've got this option to just gather a branch. So they'll gather branches from trees and then start building stuff with them, maybe using some of these rocks to turn them into an axe, which then allows them to chop down a tree. There won't be this many guys around, so at the moment they're all very eager, willing helpers. I think when you spawn there might be only one nearby, or you might have to even go find some, and they probably won't be particularly useful until you've built them some houses. So that's kind of the idea initially. I mean, I've got all sorts of vague long-term ideas, but sort of just going forward I'm going to be getting you to make beds for them. That's really and tools to try to sort of make improved housing. So yeah, so I guess once I've got them actually gathering resources and then allowing you to perhaps specify a place to then take those resources, then I'll be getting you to start building. So that's quite close, I guess, on the horizon. So I'm quite excited about getting started on that. Yeah, so other than that, I've continued to I guess just work on making things look better. I wasn't too happy with the contrast of some of the kind of colours. It wasn't as bright as I perhaps wanted, so I've gone and just sort of ramped up the contrast. The problem is this kind of bloom that comes from the sun is a bit over the top, and I just can't really get away from that without making everything look a bit dull. So I don't know, maybe it's fine. Yeah, I don't know, I'll keep thinking about that. Yeah, I changed some of the water too. Yeah, I'm not sure if you can really probably tell much of the difference, but I just sort of improved some of the math that was going on. It wasn't quite right. I'd broken it at some point. I've got more variety in the terrain height, and also I've tried to move away from some of the kind of really straight edges, so there's a bit more variety in the change in height, I suppose, as well as just the random offsetting around. And you can see that when the guys move, you can sort of see them bobbling up and down a little bit just as they go over these little dips and hills, and I think it just adds a bit more interest. And yeah, another thing that I did was I figured out, well, I had some issues with shadows because I noticed that when the sun got behind distant mountains, then it wouldn't be rendering the distant mountains into the shadow buffer anymore, and then you'd sort of get square gaps in the shadows and all this kind of problem. So I've changed the way that they sort of add together now, and it's got a few little artifacts. You can see maybe just a bit of shimmering on the edge there, just sort of yeah, but whatever, you got to sort of make compromises. I think at least I don't see big gaps anymore. Yeah, what else? Oh yeah, and I also had issues with shadows of some of these grasses are now just a thin, infinitely thin plane as opposed to solid volumes. So that's something else that I got working. Okay, and just one last thing, I guess. I've got stars. I don't know if they're going to show up that well in the YouTube video, but yeah, these are just exactly the same stars that I'm using in blockheads. Actually, I just grabbed all those star locations and did all the same math and stuff. So yeah, they're moving around slowly. It's not completely accurate. I don't even know if I will be using Earth star locations in this game or not, but it is nice to have stars. It really adds a lot to the night sky and makes it a lot more believable. So yeah, just little extras. And yeah, I'm really happy with the light level and the contrast and everything at night time now. Yeah, I think I've finally got that sorted. So it's great to have some things like that that really feel like I've actually locked it down. Like there's not going to be much change there now. So that's cool. Yeah. So other than that, yeah, I guess next time hopefully these guys will be actually at least gathering and stockpiling resources. That's the goal, and maybe building. Maybe. Yeah, it'd be great to get started on that soon. So, cool. Oh well, until then, we'll catch you next time.